Hello, my name is TJ Valtierra, aka 2Braidz. I'm a Native American, Red Lake Ojibwe. I'm actually triracial, so I'm Red Lake Ojibwe, I'm white, and I'm Mexican. And the reason they call me 2Braidz is because I'm also a rapper. So I go by 2Braidz, that's my stage name. It's the number 2 and then BRAIDZ. All one word, 2Braidz. I live in Minneapolis, Minnesota. Grew up in St. Paul, Minnesota. Today I am the program director of the Little Earth Boys and Girls Club in South Minneapolis. I am the head pastor at Lebanon Lutheran Church in South Minneapolis, and I am also an urban worker through City Joy. Which is another organization in South Minneapolis. So I basically have 3 jobs, many titles. None of that really matters to me. Really, my main focus in life is to serve the community, specifically Indigenous people, but not specific to Indigenous people. And so I'm invested in the South Minneapolis community and doing a lot of work there. I coach basketball. So I coach an 18U team in the Minneapolis Park League. And I do a variety of other things. Where I'm here, I'm also married. I've been married since 2012, coming up on 9 years. I have 2 kids. My son's about to turn 2 tomorrow. My other son's 3. My wife is Mississippi Choctaw. And man, how did I get here? I could share so much, but really, I mean, I'm a product of grace. And so just a little backstory. I came out of crime, gangbanging, drug addiction, womanizing, the whole street life, thug lifestyle type of stuff. I came out of that, and the creator, I encountered God, and my life was never the same. And I was miraculously healed of addictions, negative thought patterns, destructive ways of living pretty much overnight. Doesn't mean that I all of a sudden became perfect, but a lot of the addiction issues and crime and gangbanging and all that, I changed overnight through the grace of God. And if it wasn't for that, I would not be here. I'd probably be in prison. I'd probably be dead or strung out somewhere, nowhere, anywhere near where I'm at now today, talking to you, sharing my story. And so I'm very grateful, very honored and blessed. Thank you for having me. I hope you like this story. I hope you take something away from what I'm about to share with you. I'm 33 years old. I don't know everything, but I've been through a hell of a lot in life. I've lost a lot of people. I have friends who've been shot by gun violence, killed. My brother's doing life in prison right now. I've lost people to cancer and diseases, and my mother passed away. A lot of stuff has happened to me, even though I'm 33. I've been through a lifetime of trauma and hurt and pain. So I do have a story, and I think that if anything I can say can benefit you, excuse me, I'd be more than happy to share it with you. So where did I grow up and how did I grow up? I grew up in the city. I didn't grow up on the res. I grew up in the city, in the hood, St. Paul, Minnesota, west side of St. Paul. which predominantly was a Latino neighborhood. I grew up with my parents, had both parents in my life. Grateful for that. I grew up with siblings, so I'm the youngest of seven. I am the youngest of seven, and at any time there was probably, us seven plus our parents, and then who knows, some cousins or friends living with us. It could be 10, 15 people. Grew up in a big house. I grew up in a neighborhood known for gangs and partying and all that, and I never really wanted to get into that. Right? My parents tried to raise us the right way. They tried to show us what it means to be productive citizens, to abide by the law, to follow Creator God and all of these things. And yet, because of people's choices and then also our environment, a lot of my siblings, they succumbed to, the lifestyle. And so as a kid, as the youngest, I got to see all of their examples. So my sister, for instance, is the youngest woman to ever go to prison in this state of Minnesota. My brothers have been on, gang files and raided by the SWAT team in our house. And our house was shot up when I was a kid, drive-by shooting. Came home one time with my parents, and there was 34 bullet holes in our house. Someone was trying to murder our family. That's the reality of the gang lifestyle. You know what I'm saying? All you see on BET and YouTube is jewelry and women and clothes. But the reality is, if you in that life, it's not pretty. There's violence. People are looking for you and so on and so forth. You make a lot of enemies. And so as a kid, I didn't understand that. I'm like, I'm like 8 years old. I don't know why someone would do a drive-by on our house. I'm just a kid. I just like playing with toys and going outside. And so I got to see their examples, and I despised them and the lifestyle because of what I've seen growing up. So I used to promise my parents, I'm never going to smoke weed. I'm never going to join a gang. I'm just going to go to school and blah, blah, blah. And I did a lot of that for a while. And then I got around a circle of friends who they weren't necessarily trying to drag me down. That's really all they knew. A lot of my friends came from single parent homes and didn't have supervision, didn't have a dad in their life. And, so they began to start smoking weed, and naturally they try to get their friends to do it. And so that's what I started doing. I was been through a lot in life, and even at 13, I'm like, life's kind of hard. I do have both parents, but we live in the hood. We don't have a lot of money, and my life just sucks right now. So started smoking weed, just did it for fun. That's what most people do. Just wanted to laugh, get high, and whatever. And so didn't plan to be an addict. Didn't plan for it to lead to other drugs or other addictions or, gateways, but that's just what happens. And that really sent me down a life of bad choices. And so naturally, when you're addicted to a substance, it doesn't have to be weed. It could be anything. You need to maintain that addiction and get that product and supply for your needs, right? And as a 13-year-old, no one's going to pay me to smoke weed, right? And then once my parents found out what I was doing, I got even less and less money, less and less of allowance. Or more often than not, my allowance was stuff that, they'd say, well, what do you want? Well, what do you want for your allowance? But we're not going to give you money. And so I naturally had to find ways to feed my habit. So that started with, robbing people, breaking into houses, selling drugs, crime, whatever it is, you know what I'm saying? I didn't set out to be a criminal. I was just simply trying to meet my need, my addiction, which I don't think a lot of people on the outside world really understand. They just look at addicts and say, these are the lowest of society. These are terrible people. Let's just sweep them under the rug and do away with them. And you don't realize, someone's just addicted. And because they're addicted, their body sometimes allows them to make decisions that are terrible just simply to support their habit. Now, I'm not justifying crime in any way. I'm just trying to give people a perspective on what an addict may be thinking. You know what I'm saying? They're not necessarily thinking how I'm going to hurt someone by breaking into their house and stealing. I'm just trying to survive because my body tells me I need this substance. And so I did a lot of that. Joined a gang. You know, I could share all day. I don't want to take up all day on just my life story. But basically, fast forward, I joined a gang. I made poor decisions. I ended up getting in trouble with the law. I got sentenced to 10 months in a youth correctional facility. While I was locked up in that youth facility, my brother was charged with double homicide and sentenced to life in prison. And so I'm sitting in a youth facility, youth jail, and I get the news my brother's in actual prison and he's not ever getting out. And it was like I seen a snapshot of my future if I were to continue down this path. And I felt like all the time the Creator was trying to guide me, and the Creator was trying to get me to realize there's a better way of life. Shout out to Bubbly. They're sponsoring this video. No, I'm just kidding. But so I get out of that youth facility, and now I'm even more devastated, more destructive life patterns, because my brother is now gone in prison for the remainder of his life. I can't do things with him like a normal brother would. And fast forward a year later, one of my best friends is murdered in a drug deal gone wrong. We used to sell drugs, and so my friend went to buy more drugs, or re-up is what we would call it, re-up, basically buy more drugs to sell. And the drug deal went bad, and he ended up getting shot and killed. And so within a matter of a year, I lost two of the closest people to me, my brother and then one of my best friends. And so that's when I really got heavy into other drugs, cocaine, pills. And then from about, I want to say 18 to 20, almost 21 is a blur. There's not a lot I remember other than just doing crazy stuff. And then fast forward, I'm about to be 20. I am 20. I'm at the YMCA playing basketball. I have an episode with my heart, and I think I'm having a heart attack. That's what I think. Later on, I find out that I've developed a heart issue called Wolff Parkinson White. It's a heart condition. But at the time, I'm doing cocaine every day, and I'm at the YMCA hooping in their men's league, and I don't know I have Wolff Parkinson White. All I know is my heart is beating harder and faster than it ever has, and it's not stopping. And so I think I'm dying. And so from about, I was probably 20 years old in 6 months, so maybe 6 months to my 21st birthday. And so for about that 6-8 months, every night I was afraid of dying. I thought if I die, I'm not going to go to any good place because I'm a terrible person. So that thought haunted me. I turned 21, fast forward. I binged for like a week, just go hard, go crazy partying. At the end of that week, I'm on my 21st birthday. I'm passing out on a couch. I have some type of out-of-body experience. I don't know if it was a vision or if it was reality or a dream, but it was like my soul came out of my body, and I heard God say to me, "This isn't why I created you. I created you for more." And after I heard that, it was like my soul or spirit went back in my body, and I jumped up, and I was terrified. I didn't know what happened. I just felt like I had this encounter with Creator God, and I don't know what it means, So the next day I'm at a hotel room partying, and you know what I'm saying? I look around at the room, and I'm like, is this all life has to offer us? Is just the next high, the next party, the next crime we could commit, the next lick we're gonna hit? You know what I'm saying? Is this all life? Is this all living is? You know what I'm saying? Just money, power, and respect, and just craziness. And they was like, yo, they used to call me T. My name's TJ. They said, T, you tripping, dog? What you talking about? I'm like, I'm not tripping, man. I'm like, I'm actually thinking clearly for once. And so they like, well, what are you gonna do, man? Like, you know what I'm saying? We come from the hood. This is life. There's nothing else. You know what I'm saying? A lot of people in the hood, they got that mindset. This is it for us, man. There's no way out of this. We don't know anyone who's made it out. We don't know anyone who succeeded. There's nothing we can do about this. And so they's like, what you gonna do about it, T? And I'm like, you know what? I think I'm gonna give my life to Jesus. Yeah. At that point, they're like, oh, this brother done lost it. This brother done lost it. When we used to party, my homies used to say, when you were too intoxicated or too high or too drunk, they would say, it's time to go night-night. You know, a baby goes night time, right? They're like, yo, T, it's night time, bro. You need to go pass out. You tripping. Now you over here talking about Jesus. They was laughing at me, ridiculing me. I was like, no, I'm serious. They're like, this dude's tripping. So you know what I did? I knelt down in the hotel room with 8 of my homies, 8 to 10 people. And I said, Jesus, if you're real, like everyone has told me, like I've heard about, like I've read about, like I've thought about, then you can surely come into my life. You can surely come into my life and change me, right? And so in that moment, it was like, I can't really explain it other than it felt like electricity shot through my body. And I don't know if you've ever done hard work in the summertime and you've been sweaty and dirty and dingy and there's just a film on you that's just dirt. It was like that, but then you take a shower for the first time and you feel so clean, but it was on the inside. My life's never been the same. And so I went, after that experience, my life was changed. I was never a gangbanger again, never a criminal. I was healed of cocaine addiction, pill addiction immediately, weed, all types of stuff. And I didn't know what happened. I just knew that something happened and I was different. And I said, I don't know what I'm going to do with my life. But what I want to do is I want to help people like me, young men in the hood who don't have an outlet, who don't have someone that can understand their life and bring it to them straight and assist them to be successful. So I went to North Central University. In 5 years, I got my bachelor's degree in youth ministry and youth development, and, you know, got to share my story all around America. The side effect of coming off all those drugs is I developed anxiety, severe anxiety. And so the first 2 years after I was in college, I had severe panic attacks, anxiety. It crippled my life. It really, really did. I don't know if you've ever had severe anxiety, but it literally controlled my life. It controlled where I went, how I acted, what I did, what I didn't do, because I was always afraid I was going to have a panic attack mixed with the heart condition. Now remember, I said I had Wolff Parkinson White. So when you have a heart condition that makes your heart beat hard and fast, rapidly, and then you have an anxiety attack on top of it, best believe me, I used to think my anxiety was going to literally end my life. Literally. You can ask my friends, my family. It crippled my life. The girl I was with at the time used to get super frustrated with me. My family, they're like, are you serious? Like, nothing's wrong with you. But when you're not going through it, you don't understand how severe that anxiety is. And so I had to work through that. You know what I'm saying? And eventually, Creator healed me of that. And I don't have those anymore. But I went on and I shared my story all over America. And so I've been to almost every state. I think I've been to 39 states, 41, something like that. I've been to almost every state. I've been to over 65 reservations across North America, sharing my story through music, through storytelling, through preaching, through events, through outreach. And it's not just to lift me up. It's the reality that if my life can be changed, so can yours. You know what I'm saying? I'm not just a special person and unique in that my life was drastically changed and no one else's can be. My story is a story of hope that I've seen it work. It can work. It's possible. And God is powerful enough to change any person, situation, or community. And so I've shared my story everywhere. And then, you know what I'm saying? Basically, now I've created a life and a future that is twofold. I can obviously make money. I can obviously be successful. I can provide for my family. I can take care of my wife and kids, and we can have a future as we work towards, you know, home ownership and paying off debt and, you know what I'm saying, getting into investments and all these things. But also the work that I do, because I was diligent, because I went to college, because I took my future seriously and invested in myself and in my craft and in my education, I can help other people be successful. And so the things, I mean, you'd be surprised the things I get paid to do. I get paid to play basketball with kids. I get paid to, last year we took a group of kids to Vikings practice. We got to meet the whole team. A kid got to break the huddle with all the Vikings players, get their autographs, take pictures. We got to go to a game, be on the sideline. I get paid to help kids build their resume, teach them about money management, take them on field trips, go bowling, do lock-ins, youth camp. It's like, it's not work, you know what I'm saying? And if I could share anything with y'all, it would be this. Find whatever you're passionate about. Find your craft, something that you love doing and that you're good at, and invest everything you have into that, so that when you have a career, you are getting paid to be who you are. You're not getting paid just to do a job, right? There's nothing wrong with being a janitor or a bus driver or a teacher or, a construction worker. But if that's not what you love, the message I'm trying to share with you today is one of this. You can get paid to do what you love, so that it's not even work. It's a passion. It's a passion, but you have to invest, you have to educate yourself, and you have to find the right niche and have some doors open for you. But it's possible. I wake up and the real work, the only thing hard about my job is I work with families who are coming from trauma and underprivileged and poor and, you know what I'm saying, in the hood and so on and so forth. That's the hard work, you know what I'm saying? But as far as physically hard, it doesn't drain me. It's not a drag. I don't go to work and say, oh my God, I got to go to work again. To me, it's like, I get to go to work. I get to do this. It's my passion. And that's possible for you too. And it's taken a while, you know what I'm saying? It's taken a while to build that up, but I'm in a lane now that, I do have supervisors and bosses, but because of my track record, because I'm successful, because I'm good at what I do, I'm trusted in the organizations that I work for. And so I can pretty much do what I want, because they know not only is what I'm going to do be successful and productive, but it's going to be innovative. One of the main things that you could say about me is that I'm innovative and adaptable. You take the pandemic, for instance. A lot of youth organizations closed. And as a director of a Boys and Girls Club, I said, we can't just stay closed and not do nothing. You know what I'm saying? I can't just sit on these Zoom meetings all day and look at y'all. There's kids out here in these streets who are dying, who are going down wrong paths, who need food, who need guidance, who need a mentor. And so I said, if we can't meet with them in person, then we're going to do it virtually, right? And so to adapt and say, I know I can't meet this kid in person because of COVID, but I can be with them on Facebook. I can talk to them through Instagram. I can do esports with them. I know they're at home playing Xbox, PlayStation. Why not meet them where they're at, on YouTube, on TikTok, on Xbox? And so we built out a virtual program, and now we're in person again too, and a lot of it's hybrid, I'm sure, as you know. But to be adaptable, what does it mean to be adaptable? When the rest of the world is saying we don't know what to do and we're afraid to try anything new, I'm the type of person that's going to come by and say, look, I can't just sit around, you know what I'm saying? Especially when I know the young people in the families that I work with, they need us. You know what I'm saying? They need us. We're in their corner, and a lot of times they're relying on us. And me as their coach or mentor or guide, you know what I'm saying, at this current point in life, I can't just sit by and do nothing. So how can I adapt what I'm doing to meet the need? So that's kind of about me. I hope I didn't take too much time, but I'm trying to just go through some of these questions. You know what I'm saying? How has being Native influenced your life, your experience as a young person? My life, like I said, I'm triracial. And so I've kind of went down a path of, you know what I'm saying, who am I, right? And I grew up growing up as a kid, I predominantly was around my white side of the family and Mexican side, predominantly. And then as a teenager, I started to really think, I'm Native too, right? And even as a kid, I did go to quite a few reservations with my father and stuff. And for whatever reason, it just didn't pique my interest until I was like a preteen. Then I was like, wait, hold on, I'm Native too. And so I remember I started, asking my parents more about it. I started, getting more into it, realizing who I am. And I remember one of the earliest stories, I was in middle school, I think. And I remember my parents had told me, you know, what really happened in America. Because they teach you in history class, you know, Columbus founded America. And then my parents, you know, they're like, that's not true. That's not what happened. How can he found a country that, you know, millions of indigenous people already lived in? And so I remember going back to my school in middle school, and my teacher, we had history class. And when it came to the time to learn about America and America's history, you know, my teacher started teaching us false information. And so I raised my hand and I stood up and I'm like, excuse me, but that's wrong. That's false. You know what I'm saying? Christopher Columbus didn't found this country. I remember my teacher getting mad at me. I remember she specifically later on, she said I made her feel dumb. Now, all I was trying to do was take the information I knew to be truth about North America and not let my classroom be deceived, right? And so at an early age, I was the type of person that's not going to be afraid to speak my mind, my opinion. If people don't like it, if it offends someone, it's not my job to go around walking on eggshells in life. You know what I'm saying? I stand by what I believe in, and if asked or given the opportunity, I'm going to voice that opinion. Do I go around looking to offend people? No, absolutely not. Do I go around looking to intimidate people or make them feel less than? Absolutely not. But at the same time, I'm not going to be silenced, right? We live in a world full of cancel culture. And so if your opinion isn't popular, or if it goes against something else, you know, we're quieted or we're made to look like we shouldn't speak up. And so I said, look, I'm just doing what I feel's right. And I remember I got sent to detention and I refused to go. Said, I'm not going to detention. I didn't do anything wrong. And then I ended up getting suspended for like a week. And my parents had to come in and talk to the teacher. And that was what the teacher said. He made me feel like I was dumb or stupid in front of the class. And it's like, I mean, yeah, maybe I did. But at the same time, you're the teacher. Maybe you shouldn't teach us stuff that's false. Maybe you should take into context the indigenous side of the story, right? And so that's the thing even about education. It's like, if you're not willing to be committed to the truth, should you be a teacher? I mean, that's a whole nother conversation for a different day, I guess. But if your classroom's made up of mixed people, right? It's not just one type of people. If you have a class full of people from different social statuses, different cultures, different identities, shouldn't you take them all into account and try to present the truth? And so I remember thinking, man, I got detention and suspended for just trying to speak what I thought was true. So that's one experience growing up as a Native student. You know, it influenced me. Another way it's influenced me as a young person is seeing the state of Native America. I'm the type of person that just shoots straight. I just give it how it is. I've been to over 65 reservations in North America, and the state of Native American communities is not good. There's so much addiction and so much poverty and fatherlessness and suicide. I could spend 2 hours talking to you about suicide. Things that maybe even if you watch this and you're Native, you may not know, right? I remember being called to Pine Ridge, and we assembled a special rapid response team because they said literally in a matter of 9 months, over 200 people tried to commit suicide in one community. Right? If that happened in St. Paul or New York or some white town or some major city, it'd be all over CNN. It'd be on Fox News. It'd be on the front page of the New York Times. But because it's in little old Pine Ridge where nobody cares about, you ain't never going to hear about it. And so I've seen things and I've heard things. And more importantly, like I said, I've seen things with my own eyes to see just how bad certain parts of the Native community are. And it breaks my heart. breaks my heart that kids don't have an outlet. It breaks my heart that there's young athletes on reservations all over America who have the potential to be college athletes, and nobody's going to go recruit them because nobody cares about the little Indian kid who's good at basketball or football or volleyball, because it's so much easier to just recruit the kids in the city. It breaks my heart that there's artists and there's entrepreneurs and there's people with great ideas who just don't have the resources and outlets that we have here in the cities and even in suburbs, even in small towns. And so it's influenced me a lot. It's influenced me so much that I've dedicated my life to a Native community, Little Earth of United Tribes. If you don't know about Little Earth is a 212 unit housing complex. It's the only place like it in America. It's Native preferenced, subsidized housing. There's over 38 tribes represented there. So it's not one specific type of people or tribe. It's over 38 tribes. It's a hard place though. You know, anytime you're in subsidized housing or what people would call the projects, right? It's going to naturally, and then you're in the city, it's naturally, you know, surrounded by disadvantaged people, poverty, fatherlessness, crime, addiction, gangbanging, right? But that's just one side of the story even in and of itself, because the other thing is, sorry, my light keeps turning off. The other thing is we don't see the good side. The news doesn't report on a young woman who graduated and got a basketball scholarship at Little Earth. The news doesn't report on a young man who I've mentored for 4 years who, when I began mentoring him, was a high school dropout. And now he's worked his way all the way up. He was the first person to graduate. So he re-enrolled. He was a year behind. He caught all the way up. Graduated, the first in his whole family to graduate high school. And now he works for the Boys and Girls Club. And I'm his supervisor. And he's 19 years old working on, you know, he has a full-time job, benefits. He could start his 401k at 19. You know what I'm saying? Endless possibilities for him. The news doesn't report on that though. They only come when there's a shooting or an overdose or something bad happens. And so that's the narrative that we're trying to change. That yes, we acknowledge there's issues. Just like every other community, there's issues, right? Native communities aren't the only ones dealing with this. But there's also another side to the story, and there's also great people, gifted people, whose story need to be told as well. And so that's how it's influenced me. It's influenced me so much. Being Native and knowing Native communities has influenced me so much that I've dedicated my life's work to it. How has your culture played a role in your journey? You know, there's a lot that I know and there's a lot that I don't know. So I didn't necessarily grow up as what someone would call a traditional Native. I don't do a lot of the ceremonial practices. I know what they are. I've seen some and I've experienced some, but I wouldn't say that it's what I practice. And you know what I'm saying? I feel like culture is also so much more than just what we make it be. You know, when we talk about culture, we always think about, you know what I'm saying, maybe the powwows, the medicine, the ceremonies, the language. But being Native is the culture even in and of itself, right? You know, there's always jokes. I follow memes and res pages on Facebook, and it's always like, even the humor, Native humor, right? If you grow up in a Native home and you can't joke, if you don't know how to roast each other or take a joke or be made fun of, I mean, you're not going to survive in a Native home. You know what I'm saying? And so culture is obviously all the things that are important, but it's even so much more than that, even down to the little things such as humor, and the way Native people are. One of the stereotypes is like Native people are too serious because we don't just go around smiling all the time, right? Most of the time we just have a just plain face, stoic or whatever they call it, you know what I'm saying? So It's so much more. But I mean, how it's influenced me, I would say, is one, I wish I knew my language more. I'm sure there's thousands, millions of natives who wish they knew their language. But I wish I knew my language more. I wish and that even in that, that's twofold. A lot of times we say our language has been taken from us and we don't know it, which is true. I mean, horrible things have happened to Native people, right? But it's a two-sided story. Unless your language is extinct and there's no one to teach it to you, you may have lost it, but that doesn't mean it's not able to be found again. And so, for instance, I'm Red Lake Ojibwe. I know for a fact there's people who will teach me Ojibwe. I just simply haven't taken the time to actually learn it. And so it's twofold. Again, like I said, I try to just be a straight shooter. I try to keep it as real as possible, even if it makes me have to be accountable for my choices. So yes, I never was taught Ojibwe for whatever reason. But at the same time, how much time have I invested in actually learning it? You know what I'm saying? This is one thing I'll say about Native culture too. And you can agree with me or not, but this is what I believe to be true. A lot of people, and this isn't specific to Native people, I would say in general, a lot of people who have had it hard in life, right? You can look at a different people group, other cultures, races, communities, populations, people who have been through a lot in life sometimes have the tendency to have a victim mentality. And so we can only look at life through the lens of a victim. That something has happened to me. I've been wronged. Something's been taken from me. I've been unjustly treated. And that may be true, right? And a lot of times it is true. But if all we do is stay in the victim mentality, we will never be successful. And this is what I share with Native people all the time that I work with. You have to overcome what's happened to you. You have to be able to push through that. If you want to be successful, if you want to break generational poverty, if you want to break addiction, if you want to get out of the hood or the projects or off the reservation, if that's what you truly desire, to go and do something that you've never seen done, you have to be willing to push through what's happened to you. And there are other people who simply, they succumb to the victim mentality. And so they look at the world as if they've always been wronged and there's nothing they can do about it. The cards are so stacked against them, it's not possible. And that's just not true. Is it harder? Absolutely. It's harder. But is it impossible? No, it's not. And so if I can share anything with you, it would be that it's okay to acknowledge how you've been wronged. I'm not here telling you what happened to you or your people group or in your life experience doesn't matter, because that's not the case at all. If you've ever been wronged, right, you know exactly how much it matters to you. But you can't allow that to define who you are, because that's not who you are. What's happened to you, what's been done to you, does not define you. So if you can push through that to success, maybe use it for fuel or motivation if you have to. I remember being the only Native American in my whole university at North Central. And there were times where I wanted to just play the victim card. Little old me, right? It's too hard. I need to give up. I haven't seen anyone do this. And he said, you know what? No, I'm going to do this for me. I'm going to do this for my people. I'm going to do this for Native America. And so at times it felt like I had Native America on my shoulders. That's how it felt. But I said, I am going to get my bachelor's degree and I am going to walk across that stage. And I'm going to walk across that stage with a gangster lean, and I'm going to grab my diploma and I'm going to hold it up. And I'm going to raise the Red Lake flag exactly like I did. I could show you a picture on my Facebook. I have my diploma And I'm in the middle, and my dad and my brother are on each side of me, and we're holding a red leg flag. And I said, I did this for me, and I did this for my people. I could have been a victim. I could have said, this is too hard. You know, the cards are stacked against me. This school doesn't understand me. They don't know nothing about what it's like to be Native, right? All of those things were true, but I had to push through that. And if I can do it, anyone can do it, right? I'm nobody special. And so, what is something that inspired you in life? My father inspires me. My father is the greatest man I've ever known. My father is the first one to break poverty and addiction in my family. My father has been all over North America. He's been all over the world as a speaker and a preacher. He inspires me. He inspires me to be great. He inspires me to do things with excellence. I've never seen my dad cheat. I've never seen my dad steal. I've never even heard my dad say a cuss word ever in my entire life. I've never seen him do anything that we shouldn't do as men. He hasn't just told me to be a good man. He hasn't just told me to be honest. He hasn't just told me to be a good husband or father or watch the way I talk or how I spend my money, or he's actually shown it in everyday life. And so he inspires me. He's the greatest man I've ever seen or known. And so he inspires me. The other thing that inspires me is just seeing people's potential. So I work with kids and I see how gifted they are athletically, mentally. You know, I see resiliency, I see entrepreneurship, I see business owners, and I see these passions and these talents, and it inspires me to try to pull that out of them and let them see with how I'm looking at their life. If you only knew how gifted and talented and the potential you had, that inspires me to do the work I do. Did you always see yourself where you are today? Absolutely not. I'm a kid from the hood. I grew up a gangbanger. All I thought about life was I'm going to live how I want, get as much money, girls, power as I can, and I'm going to die an early death, right? I didn't think I'd be alive. I'm 33. I didn't think I'd make it this far. I didn't plan to make it this far. That's why for 21 years of my life, I didn't plan for a future. I didn't care about life. So no, I absolutely did not see myself where I am today. What did you think I was what did I think I would be doing? Honestly, I probably thought I'd probably be in prison, honestly, or just doing anything, just random life, you know what I'm saying? To be where I'm at now is every day I wake up, I thank God. The first thing I do, I wake up and say, thank you, God, for another day. I'm blessed. You know, a lot of times people pray, right? We pray, and you may pray in your own fashion, you know what I'm saying? You may pray your own way. A lot of times people pray and all we do is bring Creator our wish list. What we need, what we want, what we desire. My day often starts with me praying, but all it is thanking God for what I have, right? The house I have, the cars I drive, my children, my wife, the food in my fridge, the clothes I have, right? The warmth, the heat I have, the job I have, the education I have. Things that we take for granted every day because we assume that we're promised tomorrow. We assume that we're just going to wake up again, but that's not reality, right? No man's promised tomorrow. And so I'm thankful. I'm thankful to be here. I'm thankful where I'm at. And what I'm trying to build is a future, not just for me and my family, but a future for anyone I work with. That you can bring generational change, right? That's the mission I'm on, is generational change in the lives and the families that we work with. That is possible. And so what challenges have you had to overcome to get where you are today? Addiction, crime, the odds stacked against me, racism, I can't tell you how many times I go to Target and their undercover shoppers follow me. If you've ever seen me, I'm a big dude. I'm 6'3". I got long braids. People say they're intimidated by me. They say that I'm an intimidating figure. I don't know how many times I'm followed in public because people think I'm gonna steal or I'm up to something. And I'm not gonna lie, there's times I get super angry. Like, bro, I make 3 times more money than you make working at Target, bro. You know what I'm saying? But that's not the mindset God wants us to have, you know what I'm saying? And so I try to let it slide. I really do. But there's days where I'm going through it and it's hard. And the last thing I want to do is be watched while I try to shop for groceries. You know what I'm saying? And so even those little things, they try to knock you off your course, right? You know, there's a verse, it says that wide is the road that leads to destruction, and many people are on it. But narrow is the road that leads to life, and very few ever find it. And so when you're on that narrow road and you're trying to do what's right, there's going to be things that try to knock you off it, right? And so it could even be internal things, right? A lot of my life has been changed. But one of the biggest things I'd probably say I still deal with and battle and struggle with is anger. Anger, in a variety of ways. And what's the word I'm looking for? It's one of the after effects of what I've been through. I've lost a lot of people. I've been through a whole lot of crap in life, and there's times where it brings anger out of me, right? I'm angry my mom's gone. I'm angry that she's never gonna meet my kids, right? I'm angry that my brother died from cancer at an age he shouldn't have died from. I'm angry that I can't go to the movie with my brother because he's in prison. I'm angry that Native people keep getting the short end of the stick. Whatever it is that angers us, you know what I'm saying? Anger's something I deal with, you know what I'm saying? So that's a challenge that I have to overcome, right? And even the trauma I've been through and the heartache and the pain, there's times where I might not think about it for 6 months. It might not bother me for a year, but it doesn't mean that it's gone. And so those old wounds, they may reopen, or things in life may come up again, and then you have to overcome them again and again, and sometimes more often than not. And so, like I said, man, I've been through a whole lot in life, and I'm just glad I'm here. And for me, what does it mean to be Native? What does it mean? What does being Native mean to you? For me, it means to be proud. I'm proud to be Native. I'm proud to wear my hair the way I do. I'm proud to be a productive member of society, to know that I have a bachelor's degree, to know that I sit at tables where decisions are made, and I have some type of power and influence. You know what I'm saying? I don't take that lightly. I don't want to abuse my power or influence, but I consider it a privilege, right? One of my prayers has been that Native people will have seats at tables where actual decisions are made, where change can happen. When we're talking about dispersing money to communities, and we're talking about implementing programming and whatever it is to actually bring change, the people that sit at those tables and make those decisions. And I've been fortunate enough to sit at some of those tables. And so being Native to me is just being proud of who I am, never ashamed. And you know what I'm saying? Breaking stereotypes, not just against Native people, but even within our own circle, right? And so I remember I play ball a lot at the Minneapolis American Indian Center. I've been playing ball there for 10 years, right? Great group of brothers. And we love to hoop together, and we've had tourneys and leagues and all types of stuff. And I came to open gym one day. I had a presentation. You know, in college you do a presentation, and I think it was my senior project. So I dressed up, you know what I'm saying? I didn't have a whole suit on, but I had a dress shirt, a tie, slacks, and dress shoes. And, you know, I quickly got to the Indian Center and wanted to hoop, but I didn't get a time to change. I just had my gym bag with me. So I come in the gym and I'm dressed like that, and you know what I'm saying? They just started making fun of me, you know what I'm saying? And I remember one dude saying like, "What do you think, you a scholar or something?" And I know they were all just joking and it was just for fun to poke fun of me, right? But the reality is like, yeah, what if I am a scholar? Is that bad? You know what I'm saying? Maybe our people, they don't know very many native scholars. So the idea of that is humorous, right? Something that we ridicule, we make fun of, because being a nerd, being nerdy, being smart is not cool, right? But it's only cool and then until you're a millionaire or you invent something or you run your own business, and then nobody's laughing. You know what I'm saying? And so being native to me is even breaking stereotypes, even within our own community. That sure, I am a scholar. There's nothing wrong with graduating on the dean's list. I graduated college on the dean's list, right? I had a 3.6 GPA. I'm proud of that. You can make fun of it. You can say I was a nerd. I don't care, bruh. The reality is, because my grades were so good, I was on the dean's list. And because I was on the dean's list, they gave me $2,000 a semester as a scholarship. So you can laugh all you want about how much I was in them books. The reality is they was putting money in my pockets because I was a diligent student. So even breaking those stereotypes, man, that it's not cool to be smart. It's not cool to be a nerd. It's like, what is you talking about, bro? Them are the people that go on and be successful and own their houses and own their cars and can afford vacations. What's funny about that, bruh? You know what I'm saying? So that's what being native means to me. What are you doing to take care of yourself during this difficult time? What are my self-care strategies? The first and foremost is prayer. I don't understand anyone in life who tries to maneuver and go through life without praying. I don't know how people I don't know how people survive. My prayer life, my relationship with God is everything. Exercise. How do you exercise? This is one thing that's a huge problem. Gyms have been closed. I work with dozens of kids. They can't hoop. They can't go to the gym. They can't work out. What are they supposed to do? You know what I'm saying? And this is something I wish that the government and cities and schools and officials would understand. Not everyone can afford a home gym. You know what I'm saying? I personally went and built my own home gym. So I have weights. I have 2 boxing bags. I have a couple agility ladders. I have a workout mat where I can do push-ups and pull-ups and blah, blah, blah. I can afford that because I have a full-time job and I make money. You know what I'm saying? The kid in the projects who don't have no money and they're living on Section 8 housing, how are they going to work out? You know what I'm saying? Where are they going to go in Minnesota when it's wintertime and everyone's closed the gyms? That's reality, man. On November 12th was the last day we did open gym basketball. And since then, I get messages almost every day from kids. When can we hoop again? This is my only positive outlet in life. This is my only way to exercise. And that's been taken from them. And so, man, it's just terrible. We're in a pandemic and it's hard. And I really feel for those people who don't have the means to actually take care of themselves. Exercise is huge. Sunlight, you know what I'm saying? Get outside, even if it's for 15 minutes a day. It's proven scientifically that it helps you. And then the rest is just family time, man. Being at home with my kids. I love nothing more than getting on the floor and playing with my kids, right? Playing dinosaurs, Nerf guns, Power Rangers, just anything, running around chasing them, throwing them up in the air, letting them climb on me and punch me and pull my hair. And I love my kids. I love my family. Obviously, spending time with my wife. Those are my self-care strategies, because at the end of the day, I mean, that's what's important. If you're not healthy, you're not going to be any good to anyone else. And even in our native way, right? This is another way that culture has impacted my life. You see the medicine wheel, and it's broken into 4, right? Mentally, emotionally, physically, spiritually. I teach a curriculum through the Boys and Girls Club called TRAIL. It's Together Raising Awareness for Indian Life. It's a diabetes prevention program and healthy lifestyle program. And one of the things that I took from that and I obviously teach kids about it, but I also apply it to my life, is if you're not healthy in all four areas, mentally, emotionally, physically, and spiritually, then you're not fully healthy, right? Maybe you're the dude who goes to the gym every day and you're jacked, right? You can run a mile in 6 minutes and you can bench press 250 pounds, but mentally and emotionally, you're a wreck. You're not healthy. Your physical body looks healthy, but inside, internally, you're not healthy, right? Or maybe you're mentally and emotionally strong, but you eat cheeseburgers every day and you don't work out. You're not really healthy, you know what I'm saying? Or maybe you neglect the spiritual side, your spirituality. You know, so we have to be able to reach all four areas of a person. And that's really important. And so what advice would you give youth today, native youth? My advice would be this. One, actually ask Creator God what your purpose in life is. I believe everyone has a purpose. You were created for a reason. And when you can find that, right? I heard it said by someone, his name's Miles Monroe, you can YouTube him. He said, the greatest tragedy in life is not death. The greatest tragedy in life is life without purpose. He goes on to say, it's worse to die, or it's worse to live and not know why you're alive than to die, right? The greatest tragedy in life is not death. It's life without purpose. And this is the reality. We have people who are living and they don't know what they're doing. And so they just wander about life with no purpose. But when you can find purpose and passion and what you're good at and what you can do to give back to the world, and you can find your niche, a whole world of opportunities is going to open up to you. And not only can you yourself be successful, but you can actually bring change to the world. The second thing I would say is actually dream. There's too many adults who have given up on their dreams and they become slaves to their employer. Really, that's what happens is people become employees and it just runs their life. And so they're overworked and they're underpaid, right? And they miss their kids' sporting events. And they got to put in overtime, so they miss playing with their kids and this and that and the other. And find something you can do that can make you successful enough that you don't have to be a slave to your employer. The average millionaire has 7 income streams. In our society today, right? I'm not a millionaire. I'm nowhere close to it. But I have enough income coming in that I can live comfortably enough. I don't have to miss important things. I can take time off. I can do what I need to do to be there and be healthy and be committed. You know what I'm saying? So what ways can you make money, right? There's so many ways you can make extra income. You could work and do Lyft. You could work from home. You could invent an app. There's so many ways out there nowadays to make income and be productive and creative. Actually do that. I guess the last thing I would say, any advice I would give you is don't ever believe that you're too young or your life is insignificant. I seen a kid, he's like 15, won a Fortnite tournament, made $3 million. Right? Think of the future that kid has. He's already a millionaire at 15. I seen another story of a kid who is a millionaire because what he did is he invested in shoe raffles and he sold rare Jordans to celebrities. Now he's a millionaire. Think outside the box of ways that you, even at an early young age, can be successful, productive, and give back to the world. And don't be afraid to be different. I guess that's the last thing I'll say. Don't settle for the status quo. Just because your friends smoke weed, just because your friends want to play Warzone and look at TikTok all day and not do homework, not invest in studying, the sooner you invest in your schoolwork and education, the sooner you get it over with, and you can get on to your life, right? And so even when you're in high school, or if you're in high school, start thinking about your career now so that you can be more productive for your future. I wish I would have took this stuff seriously when I was younger, so that I could have got scholarships or a full ride or whatever it is that I could have done, because I squandered away a lot of opportunity. And thankfully I got a second chance. But if I would have took it more seriously earlier, I would be even further ahead in life. And so that's what I'd share with y'all. I hope y'all are still with me. I hope this has impacted you in some way. If you want to stay in touch with me, you can follow me on social media at TJ2Braidz. Check out my music. Anywhere you find music, that's the number 2, BRAIDZ. And I just thank you for the opportunity. I feel honored. I feel privileged. And I pray that this touches you in some way. Y'all have a good day, man. Peace.